Hi there, I am Tom the teacher.
Hi, I'm Lauren the learner.
Welcome to Amplify Science. We are a core-based science program for grades K through 8. Amplify Science is fun, exciting, and sparks curiosity in students, just like Lauren here.
Today, we're going to share with you our amazing elementary K-5 program. I'm going to show you how awesome Amplify Science is from my perspective as a student.
And I will be showing you how easy and effective our program is for all teachers. So follow me, and let's get started. Several things make Amplify Science unique and special. One of those is how it was specifically designed for the new NGSS standards from the ground up. As an elementary school teacher, I don't have a lot of free time to become an expert on the NGSS standards. That's why I love teaching with Amplify. They have done all the research and all the heavy lifting, so I don't have to. I've spent some time looking for new science curriculum, and I discovered that some companies have just taken their older programs and tried to tweak them to fit the new standards. This is not what teachers really need. Amplify is very different. And this difference comes from the experts at the Lawrence Hall of Science, also known as LHS. They created Amplify Science from the ground up, and boy, do they have experience doing this. LHS has been making high-quality instructional materials for decades. LHS realized that teachers and students needed a new and innovative resource to meet all the expectations of the new standards. So they researched, developed, and field-tested Amplify Science. And now schools and districts across the country are seeing great results from choosing Amplify. And the reviews are in from many independent organizations and states that really showcase how Amplify Science is the best choice. For example, the K-5 program was approved by the Louisiana Department of Education as the only K-5 science curriculum to meet the highest Tier 1 expectations. Nationally, EdReports published results that reveal Amplify as the only 6-8 program that gets green level results across the board. K-5 results will be published soon, and Amplify expects similar results due to the cohesive program design. Now follow me to my classroom, where I can show you this high-quality program in action. Every unit in Amplify has a very cool approach that my students love. It's called a problem-based deep dive, where students take on the role of scientists or engineers to solve a phenomenal real-world problem. How is this different from other curriculum? Well, other curricula might teach a topic and not a phenomenon. For example, topics are one-dimensional, such as learning about sea turtles, but phenomena can be expanded to include all 3 dimensions of the NGSS, such as sea turtles survive in a habitat where there are sharks. In fact, this is a first-grade unit being taught at my school. Students become aquarium scientists in the unit Plant and Animal Defenses. In this role, they explore how a small sea turtle that they are returning to the ocean can survive when there are some mean predators like sharks out there. Our grade 3 teacher has students working as meteorologists, gathering evidence to decide where to build an orangutan reserve. They are analyzing weather patterns and data to determine which of 3 islands has the weather most like that of the orangutan's natural habitat. In my 5th grade class, it's all about matter and molecules, and my students are working as food scientists helping the Good Food Production Company determine if there is red dye number 75 in their ingredients. Let's explore this unit and how its design makes it easy to teach and engage my students. As food scientists for the Good Food Company, students get directly involved in their roles. Here you can see an email from the president of the company that outlines what the students need to do and how important it is. How does this translate to the NGSS standards, you might ask? Well, the developers of the program created 3-dimensional statements for every unit, chapter, and lesson. The one you see here is for modeling matter, the unit that I am teaching. I found this in my digital teacher guide, but it's also in my print teacher guide. The 3D statements for lessons are shorter, and I can use them as I can statements for my students. Beyond making NGSS lessons easy to teach, Amplify creates units that have access points for all learners. The Amplify learning approach takes students on this problem-based deep dive by engaging students with the awesome phenomena-based problem. The storyline will drive students to collect evidence from multiple sources until they can construct complex explanations and develop independent problem-solving skills. The unit is brought together with progress builds that use my students' prior knowledge and allows me to build upon that until they get a deeper understanding of the concepts. In modeling matter, as in all units, students are going to start with a pre-unit assessment This tells me how much prior knowledge my students might have. The unit then starts with lessons designed around Progress Build 1. In this case, observable properties result from molecular properties. So basically, if two pure substances have different observable properties, they're made of different molecules. At this point, students are going to take what's called a critical juncture assessment. This is to ensure that all students have mastered the first step. If not, Amplify gives me differentiated lessons to make sure no one is left behind. Now comes Progress Build 2. Mixing is a result of attraction between molecules of different substances. So my students learn that there can be attraction between molecules, and if that attraction is strong enough, they can mix together and one dissolves. Then students take another critical juncture assessment. By Progress Build 3, students learn that separation is a result of the attraction between molecules of the same substance, which explains why oil and water just don't mix. At the end of the unit, my students complete an end-of-unit assessment that shows how much their understanding has deepened. So that's the big picture. Let me show you how students work in different ways to learn. Each lesson will involve a blend of 2 or more of these at-bats in order for all my students to not only get on base, but to hit a home run. Do means having a hands-on investigation. Talk means my students will use one of the over 8 discourse routines in the program. Read has my students looking for evidence in the text. Write allows my students to demonstrate their understanding in their individual investigation notebooks. And Visualize is an innovative way in which students use physical and digital models, videos, and simulations to see things in a new way. This approach meets the different learning styles in my classroom, as well as reinforces the NGSS standards. When we revisit the full unit design, you will see that students were engaged in the phenomenon. They collected evidence in multiple at-bats until they could build upon their own understanding. But something very special happens at the end of each unit. Amplify has created a true performance-based task, where my students consider a new problem. How to create a new salad dressing that will be appealing to customers because it stays evenly mixed and it has no sediment. Students will work more independently on this application phenomena, and it's so amazing to watch as they support their claims with evidence and reasoning on their own. Now that I've shown you the effective program design, let's pop over to Lauren the Learner. Let's see how things are going for her and the other food scientists in my class.
I'm excited to show you what I learned about in matter and molecules. At first, I was really worried I wouldn't be able to understand or keep up. I mean, you can't even see molecules. But these lessons were so fun. We learned about our jobs as food scientists and our role in helping out the Good Food Production Company. They really needed our help finding out if red dye number 75 is in their products. Then we learned about chromatography, a technique that scientists use to separate mixtures. We watched the short video first and learned that different molecules travel different distances because of their size or attraction to the paper. The water molecules are attracted to the molecules in this paper towel, which you can see is touching the water. So the water moved up the paper towel a little bit. Then we did a cool hands-on lesson with chromatography strips that had the dye sample from the Good Food Production Company. This process took some time, so while we waited for the change, Teacher Tom pulled 3 different types of pasta out of his kit and then had us mix the 3 types together. We had fun taking turns shaking the container. When we finished, we observed the pastas had separated. We had a class discussion about how this was a model of demonstrating that properties of individual molecules are important to understanding how chromatography works. When we went back to our chromatography tests, we saw that voila, our mixtures from the Good Food Production Company had separated, and there was definitely red dye, the one which is potentially harmful. Another day, we did a fan model where Teacher Tom put a bunch of stuff, packing material, foam peanuts, balls, and rocks on the floor and turned on the fan. Boy, it was neat to watch the things go flying. Some move far and some not at all. Teacher Tom talked to us about how this was another example of chromatography, providing evidence that the properties of different objects can explain how far they travel. In our investigation notebooks, we created nanovision models of how food coloring mixture separates into dyes through chromatography. Drawing these models really helped me visualize the models we made so far. Next, Teacher Tom showed us how to use the modeling matter diagramming tool. In pairs, we worked together to make a new nanovision model of chromatography. Using the app was cool and nice to have another way to show our chromatography models. I was really understanding this now, and I liked how on another day we were able to look through and partner read this colorful book called Break It Down. The book was so interesting, and it helped to hear again the ways and the reasons that scientists separate different mixtures for different purposes.
As you can see in a few lessons, Lauren the learner gathered evidence with the do, talk, read, write, and visualize process and gained a deeper understanding of matter and molecules. So now let me show you the components of the program that make Amplify Science so easy to teach and having all students figure out, not learn about, science. Amplify has amazing teacher resources, starting with the units of instruction. Every unit has 22 lessons, so my K-2 colleagues can get through 3 units with a total of 66 lessons. And us 3-5 teachers can easily fit the 4 units within our school year. With these great teacher materials, you can plan your way with either the print or digital teacher guide. In fact, I use both. All hands-on physical materials come in a kit which make labs easy. But what really sets Amplify apart is that they also give me all the print materials to make my science wall. The resources are printed on heavy cardstock and also come in Spanish. Student materials include investigation notebooks, like the one Lauren the learner used. Also, there are 5 to 6 unique titles of student books as well as hands-on materials in the kits. There are enough resources for up to 36 students. Included are those amazing digital tools that scaffold into grades 2 through 5. In addition, my Spanish-speaking students are fully supported with all print and digital resources in their language. The program includes a powerful assessment system that ranges from those pre-unit, critical juncture, and end-of-unit assessments, but there are also valuable formative assessments that can give true guidance to teachers in modification of instruction to reach all learners. Self-assessments allow my students to reflect on their own learning. And my K-1 colleagues love the clipboard assessments where they can ask those little scientists to share verbally what they've learned. For grades 3 through 8, we also have a separate benchmark assessment to prepare for those high-stakes tests. Woohoo! There is one resource in this program that has changed my life as a teacher, the classroom slides. Every single lesson I teach comes with a downloadable PowerPoint slideshow, and I can edit them if I want. These slides include embedded videos, the reader and notebook images, and also in the notes section, all the information from the teacher guide is included. These have become my 5-minute prep lesson plans. As you see here, the notes on this slide include teacher actions and a formative assessment. My classroom has students of all levels and learning needs, so Amplify has given me a differentiation brief for every lesson. These provide supports for my struggling students as well as my gifted students and all those in between. In these differentiation briefs are even more supports for my English language learners, and many of these strategies I've used at times with other leveled groups in my classroom. So you can see why I'm so happy that I chose Amplify Science. This top-rated program really delivered on 3 things that I find most important. My students love learning with this phenomena-based approach, and they really did end up understanding science. The instruction is super easy with all the great resources for teachers and students, and the literacy connection is fantastic with the informational text and the way the program infuses those skills into science. So Lauren, how were my Amplify Science lessons? What did you think?
I love Amplify Science because it gave me lots of ways to really understand matter and molecules. In fact, I think now that it would be really awesome to be a food scientist when I grow up.
Thanks, Lauren, but you better wait to decide on that career because we have a couple more units that will have you working as a water resource engineer, an ecologist, and even an astronomer. And for those of you who took time with us today, thank you. And consider choosing Amplify Science if you really want to transform science instruction in your classroom and school.